Hello and welcome to another edition of Breakfast Club from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Today I'm joined by Neale and Andy to discuss our Game Week 26 lineup and captaincy decisions. We'll also reveal the team sheets from the lunchtime kickoff involving Fulham and Manchester United. Firstly, welcome. Andy, how are you?
Yeah, doing good. It's a bit weird to be doing this in the morning. Obviously, used to doing it in the evening. So still just as tired though. Trying to wake up, even though it's nearly 11:30 already.
Yes, I know. Well, good. Thanks for joining us. I just want to explain to the viewers that there's a slight issue with your visuals in that you're a bit juddery, but we can hear you perfectly. So that's the main thing, I think. And also, Neale, welcome. How are you?
I'm alright, Joe. Yeah, nice to be on.
Yeah,
this is a rare occurrence for me, but David's away, and we have to have one ginger on every week. So
yes, we picked a good week for you, as we'll reveal later.
Yeah.
For your astounding Game Week 25 score. I knew you'd done well, but I didn't know quite how well until I was getting your team sorted for the Breakfast Club. Wow. Okay, first let's come to Andy and have a look at Andy's team. So yeah, Andy, you had a very similar game week to me, really. Sort of average, disaster, slightly averted, and kind of an average game week. But the triple captain chip was used up, I'm afraid to say. But you're still within the top 50k. So what changes? We've got your team up for game week 26. What changes have you made for game week 26?
Yeah, 25 was a bit of a train wreck, really. And I've kind of I wouldn't call them raise transfers. I didn't do it straight away. I have thought about them a bit. But got a bit annoyed with Richarlison now at this point. Obviously, he hasn't done much apart from that goal against Huddersfield recently. And, you know, the score of the double was poor. And Sané, I mean, my plan was always to get rid of Aguero in this week for Aubameyang, but Aguero then did really well. Sané got benched twice. Sorry, not twice, but obviously came on and only got the 1 point cameo. And obviously all this Aubameyang news, has he trained, has he not? I don't know whether he has or not. But the news is enough to put me off. And I was always thinking anyway, after that hat-trick, maybe I should actually keep Aguero. He started twice. We saw that back at the start of the season that he was the number one choice and Jesus wasn't really getting a look in. And obviously he's always there and he could come on and play. But it's actually got me wanting to keep Aguero now. And obviously I heard the Scoutcast, you kind of thinking the same. That
yeah, I would. If I had Aguero now, I would keep because he's got a fantastic home record. And of course there is those stats. We were also on our captaincy video, myself and David, we were both not so keen on Aubameyang anyway because his away form's not great. He's great at home. If this was a home game, he'd be captain, definitely. But away from home, he's not so great. Arsenal, not so great. And also, we don't know about Huddersfield. Lots of people are assuming that Huddersfield are still whipping boys. But with a new manager and a home game, I don't know. I mean, there could be, but you know, there's all these things. But so I think you're making the right move. So who's come in and who's left then?
Yeah, so I've taken Sané and Richarlison out. So that only leaves me with one blank player for next week, which is Aguero, who I could look to possibly bench. And I've bought in Son and Mane.
Good moves.
So I left myself enough money with the transfers I did last week, knowing that I could do Richarlison to Son. So that was always in the plans. Obviously, you don't really need me to tell you how good his form has been all season when he's played.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look like dropping. Leicester, yeah, not the easiest game probably, but you know, he's the number one attacking threat there. Eriksen, you know, just as good, but in terms of goals, they're going to come from Son if they're going to come from anywhere. So wanted to get him in, and then really then it was just down to Sané to Mane, which is a lot harder to say than you think. And I've taken a hit, and these transfers could definitely come back to bite me, and I may be regretting this next week. I just see that Bournemouth game as if Liverpool are going to suddenly, I don't want to say turn it around. I mean, they're still top of the league. It's not like they've been doing awful, but you would say the last two games they've dropped points.
Yeah.
Bournemouth is a fixture. Yes, they had a really good result against Chelsea recently, but that is a fixture where I would expect goals more often than not for the attacking team, especially a team like Liverpool. So I've got Manny in. His ownership's actually quite high overall. I'm not sure what it is in the top 10k, but it's 20% overall. But I've got a feeling if I look through my mini leagues, not many people own him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got Firmino, and people laugh at me openly in my face when I say I've got Firmino. But, you know, I think him and Mane are both good options. In fact, Firmino is, according to the Rate My Team on Fantasy Football Scout, going to be the top scoring striker this game week. So I hope the computer is right there.
See about that.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think But
Jimenez is playing Newcastle.
But Mane's got that recent form. I think he is a good option. If I had to make a choice now, Firmino or Mane, yes, I would go for Mane. I think.
Yeah.
But I think you're completely right to start stocking up on Liverpool.
Exactly, that's coming to it as well. That's part
because
of the
they play. Gives that nice option, doesn't it? In game week 31, we know they'll play then, for example. And also, I just wanted to say that Bournemouth are proper awful. I mean, they're not just a little bit awful away from home; they're proper awful. They've conceded 18 goals over their last 6 away games, so that's a record. And of course, we know what happened at home when Liverpool played them. So they're meant to be better at home, and Liverpool completely trounced them. So I'm expecting nothing less than 10 goals, 10-0.
Yeah, exactly. Hat-tricks for both. The only other change I've made to that team that's on screen, big, exciting change, I've put Bednarak in the team instead of Wan-Bissaka. I was kind of looking at defensive stats and stuff for both of them and both teams, and away from home and kind of last 4 games, they're actually very similar. And actually attacking-wise, West Ham, at least for shots and stuff, not actually that much better than Cardiff. But I just think if you're going to put money on Arnautovic and Anderson, versus Cardiff's attack, I think I would just go with West Ham scoring. So Bednarak's been doing well as well since he's been in the team. Obviously, new manager Southampton have been looking a bit tighter at the back, even if there's not been that many clean sheets. So he's coming in as well. Yeah, no,
Bednarak is a player I've wanted to get for so long, and I can never quite make the move. Something else always comes up. And yeah, he's so handy because they have clean sheets in him. He has actually got attacking returns in him as well, and bonus should they keep a clean sheet. I always think that's quite a differential move you've done there, because Wan-Bissaka's hugely owned, something like 34%, and it's pretty big in the top 10,000 as well. So it's the top managers and overall. So getting Bednarak in for him. Do you see that as a differential move, or you just see it quite simply? You just think that Southampton have got a better chance of a clean sheet?
Yeah, I honestly haven't taken ownership into account at all. I think, like I said, attacking the teams that are facing them very similar for shots and stuff, and defensively, Southampton's slightly worse recently, but again, we're talking like less than 5 shots probably between. I think it was, and also I think. Tompkins is missing out for Palace as well. And yeah, there's not much in it really. I just think I just expect West Ham to score more than I do Cardiff in most games. And also the other thing to probably note before the deadline is there's lots of rumours that Rashford's going to be benched. Now, he probably will come on if he's benched and not fully rested. But if he doesn't, then I'm going to get Wan-Bissaka anyway. So it doesn't feel like as big a call because I know there's a chance that he's going to come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm playing Rashford as well. And I've heard those rumours, and sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not, but I'm happy to play 15 minutes of Rashford over whoever. Well, lots of different players really. I'm more than happy, especially a team as awful as Fulham. Obviously I prefer a nice 90-minute run out for Rashford. Really hammer Fulham. No offence, Fulham fans. Looking at the rest of your team there, you're in really good shape for game week 27. You've got choices. You don't have to play Punch and Schindler, which you're probably relieved about in game 27. But you've got, I think there's... What's the plan there? So is Aguero going to stay in game week 27? Because you have the luxury, you can keep him.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I made a mistake with Punchy, and I overlooked the fact that, because obviously he started the first couple he was there for, and overlooked, I think it was Moy that came back, and he got benched. So I overlooked that and did actually have an eye on him to play this week. Because I've only left myself with Aguero, I'm really in a position. My defenders don't have the kind of good fixtures they got this week, but they're not awful. So I basically left myself where I can either keep Aguero, and City's 3 fixtures after the blank are really good. And I'll probably want a City player for that, and why not Aguero at this point? Or if I really feel like I can go Aguero to Aubameyang. But one of the reasons I brought Son in this week, because I feel like there's 2 good... I probably won't captain Salah next week because it's Man United. So that kind of leaves the 2 other options for me are Aubameyang or Son, and I've got Son in now, so I don't feel the pressure to get Aubameyang in. Obviously, he's a great option. If you've got him, you're looking good for the next 3 games for sure. But that's kind of the way I've left it. I can do no transfers next week if I want to. That's kind of how I've
I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of people watching thinking, God, that's... they don't have that luxury at all. For myself, I'm going to get 11 players out as it is, and I can move one I can move a player that's playing in blank game week and with a better player, perhaps Aubameyang. But yeah, I'm nowhere near that the state you're in really, which is pretty good, I think. Looking ahead, what's your plan? Your vague plan beyond game week 27, because you've used a triple captain chip now, so you're obviously waiting for what happens in the FA Cup to find out who's got a blank game week 31, who's got a double game week 32. But do you have a kind of a dream strategy, or you just kind of waiting?
Yeah, I mean, my strategy is pretty boring because I think this is going to be the go-to for a lot of people with all the chips left. Is the free hit in 32. It looks like the way the fixtures are probably going to fall in 31. Obviously, this week if you can save a transfer, it's probably the best option because you'll know the FA Cup results for game week 31 after this week. But yeah, it looks like game week 31 might not be as hard to plan for as we originally thought. So the free hit in 32 to give me a brand new wildcard team, and then another wildcard in 34 to give me a second wildcard team. So last year I went with the strategy where I played the wildcard first. To set myself up for both doubles, and it went okay. I had an okay finish to the season, but I did like the strategy where people had basically two different double game week teams. It went wrong for some people who free hit and they took out all the players that did well, but I think if you nail it, it could be a huge score. So that's the way I'm going. I've looked at wildcarding earlier. I just the way they fall, the double game weeks and the blanks, I don't know if that's the best way to be planning with wildcarding before and then using your transfers. So, yeah, I think, like you said, players like Mane coming in, that's with game week 31 in mind. So that's pretty much the strategy I'm going for. And the triple captain was used because I wanted to use it in a double game week. It was Man City. I got the wrong player. But I just don't know if there's going to be a third double game week. There could be, and if there is, those that held on could be really good. And obviously, Salah in a single game week can still do the business. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Free hit 32, wildcard 34, and then bench boost in 35. But I'm fully aware that bench boost chip might not be as good as I want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk a bit about my tentative plans in a bit, but I remember last season some things that went wrong, and one of them was avoiding players going into that blank game week 31 or whenever it was around that time, and I avoided a lot of players because they didn't have a fixture then, and I started stocking up on players because they did, and they were actually a bit rubbish before, and I remember losing out on a lot of points then. So I'm thinking possibly something different, and I also remember the other. You're caught out again in that later double game week because you can do your wild card before, you can have all that wonderful knowledge, and you can stock your team up full of double game week players, and then because of various Champions League or FA Cup commitments, suddenly there's rotation, and it hurts as well. So you've not wasted, but you've used that wild card and the bench boost, which are fantastic. They're probably the best chips out there. The second wild card and a bench boost in combination, and yeah. But I don't know. Just got to see how it falls really. Neil, can we move over to you? But first of all, I don't know whether you have access to Twitter, and you can reveal the Manchester United and the Fulham lineups.
I can indeed, yeah. As feared, Rashford is among the substitutes. So other than that, looks like Young's rested at right back. Darlow's come in. Jones and Smalling at centre half. Same midfield, Herrera, Matic, Pogba, and then it's Mata, Lukaku, and Martial up front. So Lingard, Sanchez, Rashford on the bench.
With Lingard and Sanchez on the bench as well, Rashford might not even play at all. There is a possibility.
Possibly, yeah.
Let's hope he comes on. I think he can do some damage there. What about Fulham?
Yeah, I think looking at it, I think they're going to a back four because they've played like a wing back system for the last 8 game weeks, but they've ditched that very early on, last 2 game weeks. So it's Adoy, Marchand, Ream, and Bryan. That's a back four. I think it's 4-4-2 actually. Possibly Schürrle and Babel on the wings, and then Mitrovic and Vieto up front. So that's a change in tactic from Ranieri from what we've seen previous.
Okay, well let's see how that does. I mean, I don't have too much faith in Fulham. Neither does Solskjaer, by the looks of it, if he's benching Rashford. Let's move on to your team. I've got your team up here now. What I don't have is your bench. It's been chopped off. So if you could just reveal who is on your bench to see if we think any should be in your first 11.
Yeah, well, Fabianski should obviously be in my first 11. I've put Button there on the off chance that Ryan comes down with some kind of food poisoning or something.
Okay.
Fraser, Dean, and Camarasa are my 3 outfield subs.
Okay.
I toyed with. I mean, I've mentioned this quite a bit this week on Twitter and on Scout itself about possibly playing Fraser, given how Liverpool's conceded a lot of chances and goals from set pieces over the last 3 weeks. He still might come on if Rashford doesn't feature this afternoon. He's my first sub, and then Camarasa, third sub. I think everyone would agree with that. He's some doubt over whether he'd play. And then Dean doesn't sit right benching him, given that he could easily deliver one of these, double-digit hauls. And Watford haven't exactly been banging the goals in or late, but yeah, Everton just like an absolute shambles. So yeah, this is his swan song as well. It's his final week. I'm making the popular move next weekend of Dina to Pereira. So
okay,
yeah,
no, I think that's a good move. What changes have you made, if any, this week?
The obvious one, it was Son coming in for Hazard. I kept Hazard for the Huddersfield game, which I was relieved about, and it didn't really sit right selling him after his 15 points, but a blank sandwiched by City away, Spurs at home. I just couldn't really justify it. Even if he does get something tomorrow, I feel fairly confident that Son will outscore him over the next 3 game weeks.
Game week 29, we spoke about this on the Scoutcast. Game week 29 is the time for Chelsea. Now you can happily ditch. I think I feel a bit frustrated in the Sky game. I meant to, but completely forgot. I meant to change Hazard to Mane ahead of their game because they were playing last. So you get more game. I would have got more games and better games out of Mane. And this was all ahead of the overhaul in Sky. You get this kind of free wildcard for everything. Everyone gets this. So I would have got a really nice set of games from Mane. And they said I've got a bunch of bad games. I've got a blank and a bad game for Hazard. So I'm not annoyed about that, but that's fine. It's fine. I can live with it without him in FPL. I just know you got his 15-point haul last week, and you that's it. You won't get another one for another 5-6 weeks. So you've got to keep him forever or just ditch, I think. Yeah. I just want to say, you got 113 points.
I did
last game week. You got Aguero in, which is good, and you had Laporte anyway. Was this right?
Yeah, I brought him in 24. So they were away. City were away at Newcastle, and I had absolutely no faith in my own team. I thought Man City would go away and produce something like they did last year when it was the 1-0 when Newcastle just sat back. Yeah. St James's, and I thought it would be a repeat of that. So I thought I'd made a bit of a mistake in 24, but as it turns out, he had an absolute barnstorm and 2 games. Played at left back. Got forward he provided the assist for Aguero's first, I think it was, at Arsenal, and then he could have had more goals. He missed against Everton, then he had a goal disallowed against Arsenal. So yeah, I'm keeping him and I'm playing him this weekend.
You captained Aguero, you had Laporte, you had the Hazard points, a lot of other points elsewhere, Pogba, for example. So now your 130 took you from 45,000 to 14,000. Now that's the game week I dream of, because you're just ahead of me. I'm at 15,000, and I dream of ticking along and then having one blockbuster game week. And I do hope I get one, but you've had it, so I'm very envious. But that was good, well played. You got, it does pan out quite well there. I like the look of your team. I like seeing Laporte there as well, because I don't think a lot of people who own him will play him, and in fact they probably may have even ditched him as well because they just look at the Chelsea game. But I think with Mendy out, there's a good chance he'll play left back. I mean, why not play him at left back? He's excelled the last 2 game weeks. I feel incredibly lucky, and there is literally no skill involved. I got Laporte in for the double game week, and I had no idea that he was going to be used as some kind of rampaging left back. I just did not know. So I'm not going to claim.
There's always a defender, though, isn't there? We always talk about it. A defender in a double game week that goes mad.
Yeah, you're right, Andy. And do you know what? I was talking to Simon March on our Meet the Manager video this week, and he's very into this kind of behavioural economics, behavioural psychology behind moves. And every year, what you just said, I say as well to myself. And I target getting defenders in, but I never captain one. So I always miss out. And every year, my highest scoring player in a double game week is always a defender. So Andy, what do you think? Because you clearly think it's the same lines as me. Do you think you might actually captain a defender in a double game week this season?
No, not a chance.
Hello. I'm not either, but I want to.
It's no. I just don't see it any different to a single game week. Like as soon as they lose their clean sheet, of course you've always got the attacking returns. Yeah. It depends. As long as you've got the right defender, you've got the attacking returns to kind of hopefully back up. But if they lose their clean sheet, then suddenly it's such a downer. Whereas, Aguero got a hat trick and he started the next game. He got very close to scoring again. His score could have been much bigger. Laporte loses the second clean sheet and he's kind of done for. So, yeah, there always seems to be a defender that goes big, but it's just nailing the right one.
Well,
that's the trouble. Whereas an attacker, you've got.
I mean, I think we can. I think we can nail it to some extent. To, like, say for example, in previous seasons. So, I remember Manchester. It may have been my first ever double game week. Manchester United. I captained Ronaldo. I think you would think, why not? But it was Vidic who came away with the absolute monster score. But he was scoring every 3 or 4 game weeks, and that's when Manchester United were getting clean sheets. And I remember other ones. I don't know. I'm trying to convince myself into it. Maybe you as well.
The defender call is obviously it's always going to be the differential move because no one, well, not no one, but a large majority of people will not captain a defender. So it could be a genius move. It's just, if say let's say Liverpool had a double, and it's Robertson versus Salah, for example. Yeah. Everyone's going to captain Salah, so do you want to miss out on that? Like, it could be devastating if they, I remember when Liverpool played Cardiff, I think it was back months ago at this point, but there was that really rubbish goal that Cardiff scored. They had no chances the whole game, and if something like that happens in a double, like that would just be devastating. And that's like psychological as much as everything else.
Yeah, it is. It's also it's the whole thing of hoping someone doesn't score rather than someone does score. Is always just doesn't quite sit right. What about you, Neil? What do you think of that captaining? I mean, it makes sense to captain defender in a double game week, but you're not keen.
For certainty of start, I mean, Laporte was the obvious defensive choice for Man City, which is why I got him in. I was just trying to think back. I mean, I've been playing FPL for longer than the season history shows, probably about 13, 14 years, and I'm pretty sure I've never captained a defender in a single game week, a double game week, a blank game week. I just don't know. Even someone as gung-ho as Alonso and his pomp, I would never even countenance that. I've always preferred to play, sort of looking at a more positive point of view, as you say, rather than longing for other teams to fail to score. I've taken a chance, because you can score a goal out of the blue, and even if you're the best defensive team in the Premier League, you can still concede a sloppy consolation goal or something like that, and all of a sudden your captaincy's ruined. I doubt I'd ever will captain a defender, although it turned out to be the wrong decision this week because Laporte outscored Aguero by what was it, 1 point?
I think you did the sensible thing with Aguero though. And looking ahead, game week 27, and perhaps looking ahead even further with some chip use later. Now, if you've got 2 outfield players that are definitely not playing, Aguero and Laporte in game week 27. Is that it? I can't remember your bench. 3,
yeah. Dean as well off
the
bench. Yeah, so I'm not in as good a position as you two, I don't think. So I think I'll be taking a hit next weekend to not next weekend. It's a midweek round of fixtures, isn't it? Get rid of Dina for Pereira, and probably Aguero for Aubameyang. Because I think that's
okay.
That was my plan initially, to do the old hokey-cokey. It was going to be this week until Aguero hit a hat-trick, and then obviously Aubameyang's illness just compounded that, and I've just left it untouched. I think I'll take a -4. I could get 11 out as it is, but it wouldn't be a great 11. I could, they're not bad fixtures. I could play Camarasa at home, for example. He's got a home fixture. Fraser's at home to Wolves, so there's definitely options there. I mean, I don't have to take a hit, but I'm pretty sure I will. I brought in Son this week with a view to that as well.
Yes, definitely. He's a good captaincy option if Aubameyang is not available even. Looking ahead, what's your kind of ideal for the chips, particularly? So would you prefer to play your free hit chip in double game week 32, or would you hope that the fixtures fall nicely and you can play it earlier?
See, I'm probably one of the few who's very undecided on this. I think a lot of people have got their chip strategy not sorted, but they've got a rough idea of how they're going to play it. Now, I've stressed the importance of FA Cup 5th round next weekend. I mean, that could have an absolutely massive... We could have one blank in 31, we could have 6. The way the draw's fallen, it looks more likely that there's going to be 5 or 6, because there's only one World Premier League tie, and then the rest of them have got Football League opposition. I've been reading a lot of different opinions. I quite like traditionally I've always tried and built a team for the first blank, so steadily done that over the preceding 5 game weeks or so. I'm not in a great position to do that this year, because last season I thought I just ignored the fixtures around the first blank. I felt like I lost out on a lot of points.
Exactly.
So, for example,
that's exactly the point I made. Yeah, same with me.
Yeah. So I think we've only got 4 confirmed fixtures in game week 31, haven't we, so far? And I think of the 4 that's confirmed, I mean, there's slim pickings. And if that remains the same next weekend after the FA Cup, if there's just those 4, then I'm kind of loath to build a team for that sort of quartet of fixtures. So yeah, I'm still undecided. I think I might even free hit in 31 at the moment. That's probably where I'm leaning. But we'll see, because I think it'll be easier to build a 32 team and then possibly bench boost for that if it's the biggest double game week.
Because of course, if you're building for that 32 team, by default you're going to have players that are playing in the following double game week as well. And also, and then 33
shouldn't be as much of a blank. It should be like two fixtures or something like that. So
I saw that Liverpool obviously stand out as a team that are playing in game week 31. But as you said, if it goes the other way, so for example, if Wolves are blanking game week 31, then myself and many others, yourself there, you're just not going to be in a good position at all, because you've got suddenly 2 players, 2 more, 2 great players down. Let's put my team up now. So I've done Sane to Son. It just made sense. It was not so much out of anger. I mean, it's just these things happen. I captained Sane, worst ever double game week captain, and got Son in. Son is on fire. We know that. He's doing absolutely fantastically, and he's a great option. And Sane isn't. I don't even know if he'll start, and I don't even know if he'll do well. I just don't know. And if I don't know about a player, then it's time to get rid. And also, he doesn't. What I do know is he doesn't play game week 27, so that's a fairly easy one. So that leaves me currently, a little bit annoyingly, I've got 3 players now for game week 27 that are out game week 27. I've got Sigurdsson, Luke Dean, and Laporte. Now I could bench them all. I'm quite happy to play Wan-Bissaka in game week 27. I'm obviously happy to play the rest of my team there, because Crystal Palace away to Leicester is fine, I think. Højbjerg I would have to play Højbjerg at this stage, and I still may do. But what I'm thinking of doing is actually getting rid of Firmino to Aubameyang game week 27. I think he'll be a popular captaincy choice, and I think he'll be possibly, arguably, with Southampton visiting, the best captaincy choice. I remember last season when Aubameyang played Southampton, he was fantastic. I think it was Lacazette. In fact, Arsenal had one of those games where half the match they were awful, and half the match they were incredible. And it was the same with Southampton. I seem to remember some kind of fight back from Southampton. So that could be, I don't know whether that bias is persuading me, but I think that will be a good match, I think. So I'm thinking that, but I could take a hit, and Luca Dean out for either Pereira or Kolasinac helps. But one thing I am keeping my eye on, a bit like you, Neil, I'm keeping my eye on those FA Cup games. And I think for me, I share your thoughts really. My ideal really is to free hit into game week 31 and not build my team around the likes of Burnley and Newcastle and all those teams that, and actually free hit then and start building a team for double game week 32 from game week 27. So my game week 27 move will be based around that really. So I'll be looking at teams that are potentially playing double then, and particularly on defender there. So a good attacking defender to replace Luca Dean, because defenders are great in double game weeks. And I'll be looking to do that, and then that gives me opportunity to use a triple captaincy chip there. And there may be options like, say for example, Pogba, or even Hazard or Higuain, or perhaps even a Wolves player as well, who I think will play twice and I think will get me returns. And I think that's an option there. So just keeping me options. But if I say the chips, just as a saying, if the chips don't fall my way, then I think what I'll do is free hit game week 32 and start building for game week 31 if I'm in good shape for that. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, obviously we just don't know yet because of the FA Cup. But there is already. Obviously it depends how your team stands now versus how many transfers it take to get to. There's already some pretty good teams with fixtures in game week 31. So West Ham play Huddersfield, Arnautovic, maybe Anderson. Liverpool, obviously triple is fine there. Leicester as well. Obviously, you both talked about Pereira. There's Vardy as well. Could be an option. And Bournemouth have got a good fixture too. So Bournemouth have got pretty awful fixtures now, and they have done for a good few weeks. But around the blanks, they start to get really good. So maybe the likes of Wilson, Fraser, King, whoever it might be, could come into our thing. It just depends how many of those players you've already got. Because if you don't, like me, that's a lot of transfers just to build to that one game week. So yeah, I think like you both say, the FA Cup fixtures this week are key really to the chip strategy.
Yeah, I mean that's the message we're trying to get across really, because lots of people seem to be very definite about what they're doing, and I'm not definite. I've got a kind of a wish. I think both of you have as well, but we don't know really. But I want to get it right this year. I did okay last year. I finished with a good rank, but I was kind of already had a good rank about this time, so I was just kind of held steady. But this year I really want to be better at the double game week. So I got it. I didn't do it right. I was built. I can't remember the players I was getting in. I was getting a load of hopeless players in, and keeping a load of hopeless players that had a blank game week, that played in that blank game week, and it was not good. But anyway, Andy, Neil, thanks so much for joining me. It's been great to find out what you're doing game week 26, and also I think it's a little bit more important at what we're doing game week 27 and our thoughts around that. But Andy, Neil, thanks so much for joining me, and for everyone else, good luck with the game week, and to you too as well.